Hey guys, thank you so much for calling in on our Tuesday night team call. It's so fun to see all of your faces, and I love that almost everybody has their video on. This is like such a treat, especially because there's a couple new people that I get to see, and that's fun. And plus, it always is just a great way to be connected. So, like always, you guys, I love so much when we can just do this together and stay plugged in together. And I think that real time is better than recorded time. I'm grateful for whenever you listen to this and grab the information. But if you guys can all just grab one person, one person in your downline and just send them the flyer, the link, just like hop on. It's going to be 30 minutes. We're going to have a fast call tonight. I would love to increase our attendance just slightly. So while we do that, I'm going to just go in with a few quick announcements so you guys are up to speed. But in case you missed the threads, or in case you missed anything in the pages, we do have the Dad Pod promotion. So it's 15% off the Amped line, and that's from June 3rd to June 16th. And there's also free membership this week of qualifying packs. And part of that free membership promo is because it is going to take us up through the Nashville contest, which is to win the free hotel room. And that contest has been going the last few weeks, and it ends on Sunday. So just remember that the next stop Nashville ends on Sunday. So many of you are in there, like Jen and Adam are top, Laura's top, Keisha's top, Rachel's on there. And you guys, some of those top 300, they only have like a handful of enrollments that anybody can do that. So I say go for it. It's the top 300 people that are going to earn that free hotel room. And if you already have your hotel room, then you get to gift it to a friend, right? And if not, how awesome is that you just get to go and your expenses are that much less. So that's run with the free membership that's utilized the Amped promo. And with that being said, I want to dive into the call. So as you guys know, we always do a business spotlight and a product spotlight. And tonight, I'm going to have Jackie Shanley cover our product spotlight. For those of you that don't know Jackie Shanley, she is a Crystal executive on our team. She has been a part of our team for like 5 years, and she's just amazing. She's a great product transformation, and I love when you guys get to learn from new people. So Jackie, will you teach us about the IsaFlush, please?
I sure will. Thank you so much, Lauren. So we are talking about IsaFlush. Everybody here should have that, and I'm not sure how many of you are using it every night, but it's pretty amazing what IsaFlush contains and what it will do for you. And if you don't mind, I'm going to read a little bit, but I promise not to make it boring. So the big thing about IsaFlush is it has magnesium in it, and we are very deficient in magnesium, most of us. And what it says here, which is really fascinating, is this is a mineral, again, that we are deficient in, and it's because our cells dump magnesium during stress. We actively push it out of our bodies as a way to rev up our nervous system and cope with daily life. And what I really think is so funny here is that if you live a meditative life of a monk on a mountainside, then you are all set, Lauren. But here's a very quick list of all that magnesium will do. 8 ways that it rescues your hormones. It regulates cortisol, reduces blood sugar, supports thyroid, aids in sleep, fuels cellular energy, makes hormones, activates vitamin D, and slows aging. Without enough magnesium, vitamin D cannot do its job. Too much vitamin D supplementation causes magnesium deficiency. So that is really absolutely fantastic and super important. And we have it all right here in IsaFlush. So I will absolutely be taking this tonight and every night going forward.
So awesome, you guys. And I love the product spotlight. I know a couple weeks ago when Ashley went through the lemon for us, we were like, whoa, we didn't know like all these things. Or, when Danielle did the natural accelerator, you're always like, whoa, like we learned a lot. So I'm sure a lot of you didn't know that magnesium can support thyroid health or support blood sugar health. But remember that people are always really drawn to inspiration. So the information is great for you, but like when you are chatting with people, like talk about it. Like, you know, I was someone that could never go to the bathroom every day, and I know that's normal, and I wasn't, but I take this and now I actually go. I mean, that's so relatable to people, you know. Or if you are someone who gets really bloated when you have a high protein diet, say one of the things is when you increase your protein, you don't have to worry about irregularity. We've got something that's going to keep you, you know, super regular. And as always, I just challenge you guys to not only try it, like if you're not using it, or it's not something in your basket right now, go in and order it so that you're familiar with it and you can talk to other people about it. But take this time this week to educate your team on this product and just say, you know what, I'm learning so much about it. And I thought about you, and maybe you didn't know. I was surprised when I found out XYZ. And we are always just trying to get people to shop from our wholesale, you know, online superfood store as opposed to somebody else. And it's always interesting. Like I'll be at a team member's house who's not really ordering that much, but I'll see things in their cabinet like magnesium. I'm like, why are you buying that from there? Why aren't you taking IsaFlush? And they'll say things like, IsaFlush is magnesium, you know, and they think it's like a laxative or something. So sometimes our education and just being able to let people know what's in there and all those benefits goes leaps and bounds. So Jackie, thank you so much for doing that. And Jen Feichter is our business spotlight tonight. You guys, Adam can't join her. He's working nights. But one of the things that I'm always going to do is highlight top leaders and also rising stars. But I also really like to talk to people that have been able to ride this journey, right? Because this business always ebbs and flows, and it surely is not like this, right? Like no one comes into this and just does this. And there is like all of this, you know, you enroll a value pack, someone returns a value pack. You create a consultant goes out of, you know, active status or whatever that looks like. And it helps to hear people's stories that are just relatable, and just to remember that we all have the same highs and the same lows, the same celebrations and the same wall-kicking moments. So Jen, I know we talked about this a little bit, so I don't think I'm going to ask anything that you're not prepared for or comfortable about, but if you could tell the team a little bit of just what happened in your life over the holidays that took you out of the game. And not that you were inconsistent. I mean, you still posted on social media, or, you know, you still checked in with your cleansers, or you still got on team calls. I mean, you went to NYKO. I mean, you still were responsible with your business, but what was happening that your enrollments were down, or your rank advancements were down, or your cycles dropped a little bit?
Yes, and I love that you asked me to share this kind of stuff, not just like the highs, like you were saying, because everyone thinks it's all the highs because we celebrate the highs, but we don't really celebrate the low parts, and that we stick them out, which I think is super important for all of us who've been on here for a while. But those of you that don't know, we had a lot of medical things go on in my family with my nephew over the holidays, and we were moving. And anyone that knows me knows I am type A personality. You like start messing up my routine, I go crazy. And then all of a sudden I had to like pack up my house, and we were in Arizona in the beginning of December. And I remember just Adam closing on the house, and I wasn't even there. And I was like, oh my gosh, well now the construction starts and all this stuff. And I just felt so overwhelmed. And I remember Kathy Cooper saying, you know, you really want to make sure you get the 15 enrollments. It's going to be really important for a big contest, you know, next year. And I literally did not care at all. Like the owner of the company is telling me that, and I had zero motivation, zero anything, any mental capacity to even think about traveling, and that stressed me out even more. So you can see where I was at. Very competitive person. I like contests. Oh, I want to win that. I was like, nope. You just put one more thing on my plate. I am not wanting to hear it at all. So obviously, I mean, we've obviously still coached people, right? We still like checked in with our team, but it was nothing like before. When people reached out to enroll, I was actually like feeling very overwhelmed even by that. So going to the new year, went to NYKO, started getting my bearings straight a little bit more, and everything just started falling into place a little bit more. Obviously, because we started working a little bit more, our team started working more, and the momentum started building. And it took a couple months for it to start going back up. I mean, because obviously cycles are going to drop a little bit, but I am so thankful. And I say to Adam every single day, like, what other job could I have, you know, not cut off the highway and checked out completely, but have not done nearly what I was doing before and still get paid? Like, that doesn't happen anywhere else, you know? There's people sick all the time. People still have to go to work. There's people moving all the time. Doesn't matter if they're type A or not, and they still have to go to work. So it was just such a blessing to be able to still get paid during that, and then really set the example for the team again. Okay, it's go time. And not dragging the people that I really wanted to go on the journey with me. Maybe they were in a slump right then, and maybe they were moving or they had something else going on. and it wasn't important to them. But you have to grab the people that are ready at the right time and move with those people. So like I'm seeing Kristen on here right now, and I know it was really important for her to hit, Crystal Executive, and same with Mary Ellen. There's certain people that they have goals, and you want to move forward with those people and not drag the other people. So I love our compensation plan. I love that our team is still here, and that we, work with who's working, and that when we have to take a step back, don't get off the highway. Just be able to keep moving forward when you're ready.
Okay, so I love that you talk about how you didn't like totally quit, right? But you did some of like the foundational stuff or like the bare bones, but not where you were building. It wasn't a sprinting season, but you were consistent. I mean, if someone was finally ready to do the cleanse, they would have known that like Jen and Adam are the people to go to. I mean, they stayed enough in the game without being all in. And I love that you talk about that. And also how important this business model is. Like when you really understand residual income, and if you build it, it will pay you over and over and over. And I was having this conversation with Janny the other day because, she's saying like, oh, like everybody just wants to be with their family. It's summer and they're like, I'm with my family, I'm barbecuing, or we're at the lake, or we're going on a hike, or whatever people do. And she's like, oh, and she's like, I just want people to work. Like if they're young and they're healthy, they need to work now because you don't know what's coming. And I started laughing, and almost simultaneously I was laughing because I knew how frustrated she used to be with me. And then she said it, and she's like, gosh, you used to kill me with those football games. And I started laughing, and she's like, I was like, this girl has so much. Like she is sitting on all these bonuses, and she's sitting on this leadership opponent, and you'd be like, I'm going to watch the Bronco game. And I would be like, what? Like, what? The Bronco game? And when I finally really started to get it, and I was like, okay, football is always going to be there. Like, I'm putting football on the back burner for a while, and I'm going to build this business. And sometimes those distractions show up, and sometimes we have to slow down. There's family events, there's major sickness, there's major moves, there's challenges. And then there's times it's like, are those excuses? Right? And those should really be your reasons, or are they actually things you have to overcome? So I just love that you're sharing that. But even through the, midst of all of that, there was enough consistency, right? And so then once she was settled, their office was set up, the boxes were unpacked, like her brother's doing better, all these things. And you said, okay, it's go time. We're going to set the pace. What are you doing? Like literally talk to us on your daily actions, like your organization, the things you're tracking that have shifted you, that you guys, Jen and Adam, are not only incredible enrollers, and they are rank advancing people like crazy. I mean, of the entire company, they're number 11, number 12, number 11, 12, and the entire company of top leader in action, So like when you're listening to this, and like, what are you doing? This business is not hard. It requires consistency, right? But like, what are those things that you are doing right now that went from, okay, we haven't enrolled anybody in 2 months and our cycles are down, to we're number 12 in the entire company of leader in action?
Yeah, so I would always say leader in action, that formula, that's something we've tracked for years, like way before it was ever even like published all the time. It was just something that we felt like if we could enroll 5 people and we could help rank advance someone else, and if we could grow the cycles, we could see where, where we're weak and where we're not. And we're going to stay active as executive. That was very important to us, to make sure that was always in a point in a column. And I love that they're doing this now, even for manager and above, for this contest, so that everybody can see what it's like. Because a lot of times, I mean, I'll be honest, I've tried sharing people, oh, you're leader in action. They're like, oh, yeah, I'm not executive yet. It doesn't really matter. In the back of my head, I'm like, oh, that's kind of true. But like, it wasn't important to them yet because they didn't understand what it meant to when they got there, So even though I was like, well, it kind of is, you're going to build, you can see. But really watching your math and seeing where you're at and adding up the points every single week. And if you're not at a place where you need to be in a certain category, go out and meet people. Believe me, there's been times lately that I'm like, oh gosh, the last thing I want to do right now is go out. Especially now we have a little dog, but people are coming here and I'm meeting with them in my pajamas a lot of times. That's what I've been doing almost daily because I can't go out right now. I'm taking her out to the bathroom every half hour, 45 minutes. It's like, so you have to adapt to where your life is right now. You have to adapt it and make sure that it's still moving your business forward. So maybe somewhere else, like I'll admit right now, my social media is not as good, but I know I'm meeting with people in person and I'm doing the best I can do and supporting other team members. And Adam's picking up the slack some places. There's certain things you have to do the kids, but you have to make it to whatever it's going to work for you right now and not just totally step out of the game because you're not doing perfect in every area. Because that is somewhere that if I'm like, well, I'm not all in every single area, I can't do it. I have to be done. And that's something I've learned that no, you don't. You just have to do the most important things and keep moving forward. And you can pick back up the following week or whenever things calm down a little bit. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, and I love it. And I'll just say for someone who works really closely with Jen and has for a long time, You know, she's always been really good of like managing her business and, you know, being the CEO of her business, not reliant on Laura and I, or not blaming her team or expecting her team to do something. But there's been times she just said, hey, there's a lot going on right now. Like, I've done enough, but like, I can't handle it right now. And she's also the first, when she's going for it, or can be really competitive and push. But the things that I would just say is that she's always seen the long-term vision. Like, there was never a moment of like, oh my gosh, 3 people returned, my cycles are down, this isn't for me. You know, there was never this like, okay, I didn't hit a millionaire in 6 months, I'm out. And there have been great highs and there have been some lows, but trusting, like she said, what other job is going to pay you over and over and over? And she saw the 5-year plan, the 10-year plan, the 20-year plan, the legacy, you know, for Jaden and Lexi. And that is the part that I just love to really share these stories. So thank you so much. I'm going to kind of move into like our team call, and I'm going to start with like the most basic, probably step 1 skill of this business, mostly because I'm looking at the number of enrollments, the number of new customers that have joined us. And there might be some executives on this call. There's some 2 stars, some 3 stars, a 4-star, you know, and there's someone who probably got enrolled or is going to listen to this recently a couple days ago that has absolutely no idea what Jen and I just talked about, right? They might have not even taken IsaFlush yet. And they're like, what is happening? And this is literally the number 1 first step for a business builder, and it is making your list. And then how do you approach this list? And it was really coming to fruition because I've had the privilege and honor the last couple of weeks to do a lot of these welcome calls, a lot of these unboxing calls. We are, you know, with free membership and the, you know, Next Stop Nashville contest, and our team that's doing the 20 and 30. We have a lot of people that have joined. I mean, between Kisa, Rachel, and Jen and Adam, it's 30 people in the last couple of weeks, just between 3 people. I mean, you can see the numbers that are coming in, and it's amazing. But I'm like, okay, now what are these people going to do? And so I'm on the phone and they're asking me to vision cast, and like, you know, Lauren, like, she wants to do this business. Like, what's the first thing she should do? And you can almost hear the panic. I'm like, well, the very first thing I want you to do is make a list. And they're like you can, if I'm on the Zoom, you can see it. They're like, a list of what? And, you know, on the phone, you can almost hear it. And the thing is number 1, I'm 99% sure hardly anyone has made their list. And if they have, they're frozen. They don't really know what to do with it. So we want to go through it. And I first want to just talk about where you get the names from, right? Like, how do you make this list? And then how to not make it weird by approaching them. So I remember when I was at my very first Isagenix University, and they said, make a list of 100 names. And this was an easy task for me. And I didn't know what I was supposed to do with it. They just told me to write down 100 people I knew. And I've always had a ton of friends and a huge network. So I mean, I just started thinking about like people in a spin class. I thought about like people that I went to school with. Like, you know, I had like a couple hundred names, and the girl next to me had like 3 names. And I remember thinking like, you should leave your house more often. Like, how do you only have 3 names? And, you know, sometimes she was so frozen because she couldn't even naturally come up with the names that she had because she was already too afraid of what they thought about her. And I wasn't even at that point of like, what are these people going to think about me? Because no one told me I was doing anything with it. They just told me to write down the people I knew. So that's what I did. And so part of this, I'm telling this because I want to help you guys help your people, that in the process of writing down the names, don't have them have any outcome attached to what they're going to do with it. They're just putting a list together. So then we can guide them through it. And Isagenix has an amazing tool. You guys, this is on isagenixbusiness.com called Memory Jogger. And it is 2 pieces of paper. The first is a list of all the things to help jog your memory of the people you know. And the second is a notebook piece of paper you can actually write the names on. But it will say things like, who's on your Christmas card list? For most people, that's at least 20, 30 people, right? Who are your kids' teachers? Who's your dentist? Who's your mortgage broker? Who's your banker? Who's your nail tech? Who's your hair salon? Who's your neighbor? Who's your whatever? Okay, and it's helping you think of people so that when I go, oh my gosh, I haven't talked to Paula since we graduated college, you know, like, let me think about blah, blah, blah. And then other names start to pop up. Or I go, oh gosh, like, I haven't talked to Rachel since we graduated high school. Who else? Oh, we played volleyball together. Oh yeah, Jen and I played soccer. It helps you just come up with the names. And for any of you that feel like you're in a rut, you feel like you're not enrolling, you feel like, okay, no one's reaching out to me. What do I do? How do I get my enrollments up? Or some of you that are brand new, like if you don't have a list, you don't have a business. And so the very first thing is making sure you have a list and you have an active list. You guys, business cards that I may have grabbed at a networking event in 2013, they do not belong on my list today. The woman that probably had her dog walking business is probably out of business, right? The girl who was doing Scentsy, they're probably into nails thing now. I mean, I'm not trying to like be mean to any of these people, but entrepreneurs are constantly changing. So if I'm like, hey, Kristen, we met at BNI in 2012. She's like, what's BNI? Like I live in Tennessee now. I'm doing, it's awkward. Like you want to have an active list. I want to be talking to the girl I met at the nail salon last week. I want to be talking to the barista from the coffee shop I met yesterday. So some of you have been doing this for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Yes, don't take people off your list that have said not now, but you want an active list. You want it fresh. And for someone who is brand new, this is when it's fun because no one even knows what you're doing. But I literally encourage people to make a list of 100 names. If that's too daunting, 50, no less than that. We know the numbers that it's 10 to 20 conversations per enrollment. So if someone makes a list of 25 names, like they're going to fry through that and they're going to feel so depleted. So we want to absolutely make sure this list has a minimum of 50 names, ideally 100. The second is then to go through this list and without prejudgment, but what made you think about them? Write down, do you think they would like Isagenix for and which solution? Energy, weight loss, sports performance, youthful aging, the opportunity. When you're writing down people's names, like, oh my gosh, I would love for them to do Isagenix. Well, if they're super outgoing and they're influential and they're networked and they're entrepreneurial, you're thinking about the business. If it's someone that every week is posting the fad diet and in the last 3 months has done keto and Jenny Craig and Weight Watchers, you're thinking weight loss, like for whatever the reason is, and start to think about it. Outside of that, I encourage people, especially if you're brand new, to circle your top 10 scary people, like the top 10 to 20 scary list, chicken list people, and reach out to them with your sponsor, with someone in your upline, someone who's a little bit more experienced. And I can talk about what that goes through. So let's say I just get Jules started, and I'm like, and Jules is excited. She's, going to personal training school and she wants to try these products. She wants to have supplemental income. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, I want you to make a list of 100 people. Maybe it's your clients, maybe it's friends, maybe it's family, maybe it's past coworkers. Reach out to the top 10 scary ones. We're going to do that together. And she's going, oh my gosh, like they don't know you. Everyone's going to think I'm selling them. Like, what are we going to say? Like, I don't want to do that. But at the flip side, she's going, oh my gosh, you're going to help me because I had no idea what I was going to say. Like, this is awesome because I get to learn because what would I have said, not really knowing anything. And the key to this, you guys, is to not make it weird. You just can't make it weird. And so if I was thinking about any skill, when I think about like when I became a spin instructor, I didn't go through an 8-hour training on a Saturday and then they just let me teach spin classes on my own, right? Like those would have been terrible. Like I had to send in videos, I had to get assessed, I had to do this thing called team teaching where I was allowed to teach like a song at a time until I built up to be able to teach my own class. I mean, it's a process and it's a training. Think about any job you go to, like a teacher doesn't graduate with their education degree and get thrown into first grade. Hey, here you go. Welcome to your class, right? Like that's why there's teacher aides or assistant teaching in these programs. That's why there's internships. And so people get super excited about Isagenix. They're super excited about network marketing. And we say things like, you don't need any special degrees, right? We say things like, you don't need to have a background in sales or network marketing. We tell people that you can do this in the pockets of your time and all you need is a cell phone and Wi-Fi. And all of a sudden, people don't know what to do. And it's because like anything else, it's a skills-based business and it requires training. So in those initial calls, Jules, I'm saying, okay, who's on your list? And she's like, oh my gosh, I really want to reach out to Molly. And I'm like, okay, why did you put Molly on your list? And she said, because like she's a mom and she's healthy and I know how hard she works and I really think she would love to do this business and have supplemental income. She's so fun. She's inspirational on Facebook. She fits the culture of our community. And I'm like, awesome. Why don't we tell her that? And she's like, oh, right? Like in this, like, what do I say? And I say, why is that person on your list? And all of the reasons that they list, I'm like, that's what you tell them. And so there's a couple ways to do it, right? It could be that Jules does the initial call and she's like, hey, Molly, how are you? They catch up a little bit. She said, I was recently introduced to something that I'm so excited about. And I thought about you because of, and you start sharing that. I thought about you because you're influential. I thought about you because you're a mom and you're so healthy and you're busy. And I thought these products could help you when you're on the go or whatever it is. And say, I'd love to share with you about it. I'd love to talk with you more about it. Now I'm always going to start asking questions. And Jules just says, I am so new. And I thought about you because I think it would be fun to do this together, but I would love to have my friend Lauren on the phone. I don't want to tell you the wrong information. You know, I want to make sure I get you the best information. I would feel better if we can all just get on a call and we can talk through it and she can answer your questions at the same time. Like, it's not weird with any other job. Like, if you went in and you're gonna have your teeth cleaned by a dental hygienist in school, like, you would hope someone was there supervising the situation. Like, you would hope someone was making sure they didn't screw it up. I mean, who has ever, like, this is a random story, but like gone to a hair school to try and get like a cheap haircut and dye? I mean, Chris Marshall, I know you did this last week, but like, I remember in college on a budget and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to the Aveda school. Like, it's $20 for a cut and highlight. That's because they don't know what they're doing. And I looked like a light bulb leaving there. I was like, I should have paid full price, right? Like, go back to that, like any other business model where they're gonna be supported, they're gonna be encouraged. So another way to do that is to literally call. And I was thinking about this earlier when I was like, what am I gonna talk about tonight? And Rachel was sharing about how she's got some people with great product experiences, but like, they're not really wanting to share it. They can't get people on the phone. And she's like, I remember just like people just doing it. And as she's telling me, I was like, what did that look like? Like, what do we actually say? And honestly, because we were spent so much time together, she called them and I was sitting right there. And she would literally from the coffee shop be like, hey, Kathy, how are you? You know, I know you asked me about my cleanse the other day. And I'm sitting at this coffee shop with my sister and we were talking about it. And I was thinking, I should just call her right now and tell her about it. Kathy's like, yes, tell me more. She'd be like, you know what? Like, I don't know that much yet, but my sister knows a lot. You should just talk to her. And she would literally just give me the phone. And I would be like, hi, who's this person? Why are we on the phone, right? But it was something that we didn't know how important of a skill that was because we were learning, we were failing forward. But looking back, why it was so effective. And so when some of my new people, you know, like if Vanessa's like, okay, hey, like I've got my list, got my 10 people, what do we do? If I can drive to you, which means you live within 2 to 3 hours of me, like I'm coming over or you're coming over, you know, and we're going to literally call them together. If not, then we do it on the phone. And it might be like I'm on the phone with Michelle and she's saying, I really want to reach out to Jackie. And I said, why? And she goes, because we've done all these diets together. You know, I see her on Facebook right now that she's frustrated, that she's not at the results that she wants. And I'm loving the products. I really think she should love them. And I said, okay, you're going to call her and tell her that. So Michelle would call Jackie. You know, Jackie answers. She's like, hey, how are you? And she's like, I'm doing good. And she's like, I'm sitting here with my friend Lauren, and we're talking about this health and wellness event we're going to do together. And I thought about you. I just think about all the yo-yo diets we've done together. And I felt compelled to tell you my story because if it's working for me, it must be able to work for you. And Jackie's like, wait, what is it? Tell me about it. Like, I want to lose 50 pounds in the next, 6 months. And then she just says, well, who's Lauren? And she's like, she's my good friend. She's been doing this for a long time. We've helped a lot of people. And she's here to answer any of the questions, in case there were some things I didn't know. And you guys can do this over group text. You can do it over voice memo. You can do it over Marco Polo. You can do it over Zoom. You can do it in person. But honestly, if you are someone who has been in this for a very long time and people are not reaching out to you when you put your Transformation Tuesday post up and you're like, how do I get my enrollments up? Or if you got enrolled yesterday, it doesn't matter. Make a list. Have an active list. You want to follow up with 100 people 10 times, not 10 people 100 times. Okay, and think about that. And you are always adding people to your list. I love what Jen said. If you don't have people, you need to get out. You need to go meet people. It is so easy to connect to people. And I'm going to give you some of these examples, but to be adding people to those lists. And I would encourage every single person on here, rewrite your list of 100 names. You can do it tonight after you get off the call or do it tomorrow morning when you first wake up. Circle your top 10. Who are your ideal board of directors? If you were the captain of a football team, and you could hand select your best team, your best quarterback, your best receiver, your best running back, right? You could hand select them, the ideal Super Bowl team. Imagine if you could do that as your business. Now, if you put on your CEO and you get to hand select your board of directors, you get to pick people that are hardworking, you get to pick people that are faith-based, you get to pick people that are fun, you get to pick people that are all about contribution, you get to pick people that are health and wellness. I mean, imagine coming from that posture and not like, oh my gosh, what if this person says no to me? Oh my gosh, what if this person returns? But you come from it of like, you know what? I am partnered with one of the top health and wellness companies in the world. I'm building a legacy and I am picking my key players right now. I literally am hand selecting the people that I know would be amazing at this. I'm hand selecting the people that are fun, that believe in contribution, that love health and wellness, and I thought about you. If you're open to learning more, I would love to share some more information. If any of this sounds like you, I would love to have a quick chat. You can do that initial part, and then when you schedule that chat, have your sponsor, have your uplines, have one of the experts on the phone to help you kind of go through prospecting. But this is the very first skill. And sometimes people are so worried about like the objections, or they're so worried about the ingredients, or they're so worried about the cycles before you've even done step one. Okay, so really, truly, you guys, make your list, circle the top 10 scary, and then commit to reaching out to some of these people. Another way to approach your list is a script from Eric Worre that you basically say, I'm in a hurry, right? You got to state that because you're going to be fast. But again, you thought about them, you compliment them, and then try to get them a call to action, try to get them to do something. So if I'm scrolling through Facebook, right, and I see Kisa's like, oh my gosh, we're going on a cruise next month. I need to lose 10 pounds. What do I do? So I would message Kisa and I'm like, hey girl, I'm in a hurry right now, but I saw your post about wanting to lean out for your cruise. I've got something amazing for you. Like literally results you cannot get anywhere else. When can you chat? I'm free tonight or tomorrow morning. That's it, right? That's it. It's short. You're not verbal vomiting. You're not dropping every single ingredient about ashwagandha and rhodiola and Sirlevi on their voicemail. They don't care, right? You are just hitting them up with what they need to know. Now, here's the other thing. Let's say that I have always been watching Ashley. And I'm like, man, every time she posts, like 800 people like her comments. And I'm like, she's so fun. She's always doing something really fun. You know, she's super pretty. She'd be amazing at this. And I'm like, how am I going to reach out to Ashley? It's the same thing. I'm like, hey, Ash, it's Lauren. I'm in a hurry right now. And I said, but I wanted to reach out to you. And I said, you know, you are super fun. Every day I look at your social media, you're so positive. There's so many people that are watching what you're doing. And I've got something I want you to take a look at. I think you would be amazing at this. Do you have time to chat with me tonight or tomorrow? Right? And that's it. And then when they are like message you back and what is it? And you're like, I just want to get on the phone with you. You have time to schedule and have someone else on the phone. And so when you get on and say, hey, you know, I want to introduce you to my friend Jen. We wanted to share this great thing with you. We work together as a team. You mean, there's so many ways to go through that other person comes on. But I honestly would go back to that basics. And if you're someone who's enrolled people, have them do it. If they're like, I want to build this business, these are my first few steps. And this is what I've been doing for 6 years. Make a list of 100 names, circle your top 10, block off an hour that we can reach out to them together and watch IsaMovie and every single movie on isamovie.com. If you're struggling to make that list, because as you watch these movies, you're going to think of people. You're going to watch a movie and go, oh my gosh, I need to reach out to Samantha. You're going to watch a movie and go, oh my gosh, I need to reach out to Heather. You're going to watch a movie and be like, oh my gosh, this reminds me of Violet, or whatever is happening. So if they can't make the list, watch the movies. They're going to learn about the products in the same place. But more than getting to an event, more than reading a book, more than getting on team calls, like this is step one. So if you have a bunch of people you've enrolled and they're doing anything, like ask them, do you have a list? Have you made a list of people that you want to do isogenics with you? And you guys, if you look at any sales, and I know we share isogenics, we don't sell, blah, blah, blah. But honestly, if you look at any sales organization, they have a list. If it's people that are cold calling, like we just moved into a new subdivision. It's crazy the amount of people that are knocking on our door, like straight up door-to-door sales, like from anything, from people that want to do our landscaping, from people that want to clean our carpets, from people that want to, you know, make sure we've got mice protection, like door-to-door sales. And they're hustling. Guess what? They had a list. Someone is like, there's a new development. Here's 200 people. Go talk to them. And every time it happens, I'm like, I should be knocking on everybody's door. Be like, I'm having a health and wellness event next week. You want to come over? Literally. Every time I knock on the door, I'm like, that's my list right there. I live in a brand new neighborhood. There are people everywhere. So I am going to go back to what I said about the connecting and where to meet people. You guys, you're not there to enroll people when you meet people. You don't have to sit there and tell them the whole comp plan. You don't have to sit there and tell them every single product and all about your 30-day experience. You find common ground and you get a number. So let's make this not about isogenics. When a guy hits on a girl, or a girl hits on a guy, a girl hits on a girl, I don't care. When someone hits on somebody at a bar, right? They're like, hey, you're pretty, da-da-da. You know, can I get your number? Like, I'd love to take you out next week. On that date, they talk about a lot of things, right? But at the moment, it's like, hey, you're cute, blah, blah, blah. I'm leaving. I'd love to call you another time. It's just an exchange. So when you're meeting someone, like, you don't have to cover the first 10 dates in the exchange. You just have to build rapport and have reason to connect again. So last Friday, I went out to my friend who works at a golf course, and I just like, you know, it's a pretty golf course. I'm like, I need to get out of my house. I just want to go sit, have a glass of wine, whatever. And I was sitting there, and this girl immediately was like my people. Like when you're like your avatar, she was in like yoga pants, but she had these super cute like cheetah shoes on. You know, she was blonde. Like just watching her, the bag she had, it was like, that's my person. And I just opened up the conversation by talking about her shoes, right? I was like, I freaking love your shoes. And she's like, oh my gosh, like I always think, are they too extra? But I think they're fun, you know? And I'm like, I have that conversation with myself all the time. And we chatted for a little bit, and it was like, you know, where are you from? This and that. She was like, you know, you're far. Somehow we bonded over Peloton. And I said, wait, I was like, we can like ride with each other, right? And I said, what's your Peloton name? I'm going to follow you. We should check in and take a class together. She's like, oh my gosh, I need to do that because I bought it and I'm never getting on it. And then I was like, okay, in case I can't figure this out because I'm brand new to Peloton, I said, what's your number? I might have to have you text me how to do this, right? That was it. So I'm not like in with the kill. I didn't even tell her I do isogenics, right? I just have a way to connect with her. So we friended each other on Facebook. We switched numbers. We did ride together. We did commit and do this ride together. So she might naturally watch what I'm doing on Facebook, right? So if I post a transformation or I post something about a stay-at-home mom building this business, she might naturally reach out to me in a month, in 3 months, in a year, and be like, hey, we met at the Westwoods golf course and blah, 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 right? And I want to know what you're doing. Or over time, you know, I'm going to build rapport. We're going to ride together. I'm going to like some posts. I'm going to reach out to her. I might say like, hey, I'm doing this super fun wine and wellness event. Like, we're going to go to this wine bar. It's a rooftop. You know, the wine's on me. You seem like you're into health and wellness. Like, you work out all the time. Like, come. If nothing else, you can meet a great group of girls. And I have a way to invite someone to her, but she's on my list. And I don't want you to think like on my list has to enroll today. These are people you're building relationships with. These are people that you're connecting with. These are people that, yes, at some point you're hoping will take a look at isogenics. So this happens everywhere, you guys. When I go into a yoga class, when you just vibe with someone, there are some people that are like so bitchy, they put your mat down and you're like, oh, by this person, right? Like, don't talk to those people. Like, if you don't like them now, you might not like them in 3 months. And there's some people immediately you want to be friends with, right? You're like, hi, how are you? It's good to see you. And I'll say that. And I'm like, what other studios do you go to? And I'll say, we should take a class together sometime or try a new instructor. And I was like, what's your number? And I just like get their number. And I said, I'll text you and we'll go do it. And then I do that. I'm like, hey, I saw this, you know, this guy Paul is really good. Do you want to go together? She's like, no, I'm busy, right? You find him on Facebook. It happens organic. But I want you to think about that when you're connecting, you are not enrolling. You are not giving them a sales pitch. You are just getting some way to stay in touch enough to have another conversation, enough to have another meeting, enough to invite them to something, enough for them to see what you're doing and generally get curious. Does that make sense? So the last thing that I really wanted to touch about tonight, and then I'm going to feel free to stay on and ask any questions, and we'll wrap up for this Tuesday, is this idea of team coaching. And I've talked about it, but I really just want to give you examples because it's so important. Network marketing, you guys, it's about a network. Network marketing is not Lauren works marketing, Jen Feichter works marketing. Like, yes, we do things on our own, but we work as a team. And I remember always saying, like, I was so blessed to be mentored by Janny and Cindy because Janny was such the driver and she got me out of my comfort zone and pushed me harder than anyone had ever pushed me. But Cindy was like the cheerleader the entire way. Like, when I was like, I had no freaking clue what I was doing and I was so scared and I was, you know, taking all the leaps that Janny had me do, Cindy was like, good job, you're amazing, I'm so proud of you. And I'd be like, okay, it's all gonna be fine. And I remember when Jen first said this to Laura and I, and that's when it hit home that we need to be doing this. She's like, you pushed me in a way that no one else does. And Adam and I will get out of our comfort zone and go 3-star from 1-star in a week, right? But like Laura like poured belief, and Laura was compassionate, and Laura had empathy, and these things that I don't naturally exude, and they're incredible, and it was fun to do it. And in that process, Laura and I realized how good we could be together, because I'm like, come on, like, let's do this. And Laura's like, I know, and I feel you. And there's this balance. Rachel and I have this balance. Kisa and I have this balance in a different way, because I'm like, oh, everybody's there. We need to be in line at 6:30 and sit in the front row. And Kisa's like, what are we all gonna wear? We should have matching shirts. Let's make sure this is fun, you know? And I'm like, oh yeah, no one really wants to be there early if it's not fun. Thank you for making it fun. People actually now want to come. And when you go through this, it makes them not only see different personalities, all the different ways to do this, but they honestly start to find their flow in it. And they go, oh, I don't have to be like Rachel. I can be like Paula, or I don't have to be like Laura. I can do it like Jules, you know? And so I'm saying this to you because I'm doing it myself. And so people will say to me, well, I know what I'm doing. Do I still have to do this? I'm like, well, what if they don't relate to you? You know what I mean? Like Janny knew what she was doing, but at times I couldn't relate. It was nice to talk to Betsy Frame. It was nice to talk to Cindy. So even if I know what I'm doing, if they're like, Lauren's a total hard ass and she's not very much fun, right? And they see the fun in Kisa, or they see the empathy from Kristen Ronovic, like it keeps them in the game. And so everybody should be doing this. So I have a girl right now, I hope she's on the call, April. She re-enrolled with me last week. And a couple years ago, she tried it, wasn't really her jam. She came back. And I immediately, I'm like, what can I do different for her? What will give her a different experience? And I put her in a group thread with Ashley and Kisa today. And I said, hey, we're trying to get her to consultant. She's ready to enroll her husband. We need one other person. You know, I'm trying to help her with a power post. And the advice that Kisa gave, the advice that Ashley gave, she's saying, oh my gosh, okay, number one, there's other people that care about me. She sees this team model. And she's seeing, oh, they don't have to be like Lauren. Like, oh, that's a really good idea that Kisa gave. That's a really good idea that Ashley gave. You know, another way that this is so effective with the team coaching is it gives you permission to not be on all the time. So like I'm in a lot of threads with Laura Lori. She's on vacation this week. Why she's on this call, bless her heart, she's dedicated and committed. But she's at Lake of the Ozarks with her family. And there's a lot of threads that people have met me since the very beginning, that if they have a headache on a cleanse day, if they've got someone interested, they can reach out to me. You know, during Jack's graduation weekend, that's her son, Kathy reached out to me. Kathy was like, hey, can you help me? Of course I will. And she knew to reach out to me because it wasn't the first time we talked. It wasn't the first time we had worked together. And you want to be able to provide that for people. You know, when I've been introducing my people to the team, there's days I'm at my dad's and I'm like, Ash, hey, can you reach out to Tasha? Like, I'm at my dad's right now. You know, I'm like, hey, Kisa, can you help Alicia? And I can't get on the phone right now. And it's so important. And so I want to just remind you guys that when you're working as a team, it's not because you suck. It's not because you don't know what you're doing. It's because number one, they deserve double the love. Number two, it's because they get to learn and relate to a lot of other people. And it gives you permission to just not be on 24/7. You know, I remember when Kisa and I both started working with Jules, you know, Jenny wasn't the only one. And she realized she had other people to reach out to and other people to bounce ideas off of. Like she grew. And then Jenny wasn't like, oh my gosh, like Jules is blowing up and I can't do every single 3-way call. She had another job. I mean, just remember this. And so the major takeaways that I want you guys to have from tonight's call, I'm just going to sum this up for you, is first of all, the Nashville contest at the hotel ends on Sunday. Let's crush free membership, use the AMP promo, and just enroll like crazy all week long. Definitely reach out to people at IsaFlush, and if you're not using it yourself, take it. Everybody should be taking it. You'll sleep better too. And I encourage every single person on this call, and I'm going to make a post in Dreamers in Action that says list of 100. And for every single person that screenshots their list of 100 and highlights their 10 scary people will be entered to win a celebration ticket. So whether you're listening to this live or podcast time, the deadline for that, by the way, is Sunday, the 9th, June 9th. But whenever that is, if you post your list in the recording of this page or when I write the list of 100, you'll be entered for a free celebration ticket. I want you guys to do that. I want you all to do that. I want you to make sure that your new people are doing that. Ask them for accountability. Make a list of 100 names and send it back to me when you're done with it, okay? And schedule some appointments. Help your people go to their house. You know, if Alicia's like, all right, I've got my list of 100 people, will you come down and reach out to them with me? Yep, I'm on my way, babe. Let's block off 2 hours. Let's do it. You know, inviting people over like Jen does, you know, getting on the phone with them, but help your new people. And the last thing is just really working as a team, allowing your people to see the team, getting them into group threads, whether it's Marco Polo, whether it's Facebook threads, whether it's text message threads, you know, asking questions. And in this process, you guys, like not only am I, hey, help April, and she's like, oh my gosh, these people are helping me. Do you see what the confidence it builds for newer people like Ash, right? And I mean, if she was brand new, or Kisa, and they're going, oh my gosh, like Lauren trusts me enough to help me with her people. Like you start to rise up other leaders. You start to develop other leaders. So with, you know, Jen's been helping Heather, but now there could be a role reversal. Jen might have someone brand new and put Heather in, and Heather's going, oh my gosh, she trusts me. I'm brand new. I don't know what I'm doing. And all of a sudden she goes, okay, I actually do know what I'm doing. And so for so many reasons, if it's the community, if it's the accountability, if it's the culture, if it's the different way of doing it, if it's empowering other people, if it's duplicative, I just would encourage you guys to start coaching people in small groups. That doesn't mean 10 people on a thread. 3, maybe 4 is sufficient, but it just helps. And I will tell you, I've had people that were going to return and they didn't because they heard a story from someone else. I had people that weren't going to get to an event and now they're going because they heard a story from somebody else. I had people that weren't going to put a power post up, but someone who was more empathetic and understand that sphere, which I didn't have, put a power post up. So I just know that it works. And if it makes you uncomfortable, good. That means you're growing. You know, if it makes you uncomfortable, that's okay. It doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It means it's a little bit scary. And then once you do it and you see the value in it, you're like, oh my gosh, why did that take me so long? And that you will see other people start to do it. Because if you don't make it weird, they won't make it weird. So you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in on Tuesday night. I love you all. I'm proud of you guys. And I cannot wait to see your list of 100 people. Thank you guys for getting on. Good night.